All right, guys, we are back with a quick one. Shout out to everybody in the chat that's coming in. Make sure you hit that like button. I have Sarah Peekaboo. Is it Higgies Ma? How are you, Higgies Ma? Shout out to you guys. Okay, all right, you guys something to say? Okay, here, this is for you. Sorry, you guys. So this is a bit of like interesting situation. Hey, Flash in the Pan, welcome, welcome. We have a very interesting situation here. So we had a school shooting early in the morning. It sounds like. Let me see. At Denver East High School. So search underway for a student who shot two staff members at Denver High School. It's actually Denver East High School, but they called it Denver High School here. Officials say a male student shot and wounded two faculty members at the Denver High School on Wednesday and then fled the scene, spurring a citywide search for his whereabouts, according to the city officials. So they have not caught him, okay? Shot two individuals. Yeah, no, I'm just a little like, wow, this big. So the shooter was actually on a safety plan where he had to be patted every day before he went to school. This is crazy, you know? But it says that the shooting at East High School was reported at about 9:50 a.m. The police and medical responders arrived at the scene very quickly to find two adult men with gunshot wounds. Denver Police Chief Ron Thomas said one faculty member is in the excuse me, in the stable condition, and the other one is in critical condition. He said the student suspect in the shooting, who is under 18, was under a school safety plan in which he was patted down each day, the police chief said during Wednesday's search. A handgun was retrieved and several shots were fired in the office area in front of the school, away from the students and staff, he said. The student then fled the school and search is underway for his whereabouts. The weapon has not been recovered, Thomas said. We're looking for the suspect. Mayor Michael Hancock said, we will find that suspect and we will hold that suspect accountable for his actions this morning in placing everyone in danger and certainly wounding the two staff members who were doing their job and trying to keep everyone safe at that time. The mayor asked the residents to look out for a student describing as an African American juvenile with an afro and wearing a hoodie with an astronaut on it. The students should be considered armed and dangerous and willing to use weapons, as we learned this morning, said the mayor. In addition, another student was taken to a hospital because of an allergic reaction, Mayor said. Paramedics were already in the building for that incident when the shooting occurred, so they were able to immediately treat those wounded. Oh my gosh. The incident is the 18th shooting in this year at an elementary or secondary school in the US in which at least one person was injured or killed, according to the Gun Violence Archive, a nonprofit attempt to log every incident of gun violence in the US in real time. Just this week, one student was shot at a high school parking lot in Dallas, in Arlington, Texas. It's getting like I'm just reading this and it's crazy to me to even see this going on. Jesus. Wednesday also marks 2 years since the mass shooting at the King Supers Market in Boulder, Colorado, in which 10 people were killed. The East High School has about 2,500 students across the 9th through the 12th grade. Okay, and it's the largest and highest performing comprehensive school of all Denver public schools, according to the school system. The high school is located in the Park City neighborhood of Colorado Capital and is considered a Denver historic landmark for its architecture in the Jacob is it Jacobson revival style? Never heard of that. The clock tower, the clock tower atop the school is similar in style in the Philadelphia Independence Hall. The school website notes. Several hours after the shooting, school officials began implementing a controlled release of students, according to a tweet from Denver Public Schools. Students who commute to school will be escorted to their cars. Students who rode the bus will be held on campus until their bus arrives. And students who were dropped off by a parent can be picked up from a separate location, the tweet said. The school will be out of session for the rest of the week following the shooting. The superintendent, Alex Moreno, said during a news conference, when students return for the remainder of the school year, 2 armed officers would be present on campus, he said. Okay, Governor Polis issued a statement saying that he's praying for the 2 victims' recovery. Our students should and must be able to attend school without fear of their safety. Their parents deserve peace of mind that their children are safe in classrooms, and students should be able to work safely without harm, he said. Wow. So, this school shootings, yo. We've lost 3 students in less than 30 days in my city. Both incidents were in school. I don't even think it made national news. It happens often. I'm surprised nobody here is talking about it. Jennifer Conley. It's sad, but this is why my husband and I got our son a cell phone, literally for this reason. Oh my God. Hey Vic, how are you? And do the right thing. I don't know if I greeted you guys. Shout out to everybody that's coming in. Lost of space. Wow, another school shooting. This one, I'm looking to see who else was speaking on it. I didn't see anybody speaking on this whatsoever. I'm a little surprised. Like I know that, like, are we just making this a normal thing now? Is it just me who feels like this? Is this just a normal thing now? To make this like it is what it is.
Side of the screen, I believe there is a statement that's being given, so we're going to head over to that area right now.
All right, back to you guys. Luis, we'll check back in with you once we're able to.
Literally just today.
Let's go ahead and give an update again of the information that we do know. Again, we are following some breaking news out of East High School at this time. Police say that 2 adults have been taken to an area hospital, likely with non-life-threatening injuries. That is per Denver police. They say that the suspect no longer believed to be there on scene. Our own Courtney Yu is reporting that the suspect actually left the scene, and we're not positive if police or know their whereabouts at this time.
Some residents in the area are getting calls to essentially stay inside at this point in time. Again, they're doing a controlled release. Denver Public Schools for East High School is doing a controlled release. Once Denver Police does allow that, parents can pick up their children at 17th and Esplanade. Students who drove will be escorted to their cars in the parking lot and then can leave. Students who ride the bus will be held until their bus arrives. We know that they're in their 3rd period right now. They're essentially just staying there until they are released.
Yeah, we do have no new information as far as the investigation goes. Our Brianna Fernandez is standing by outside of Denver Health. She does report that she does see a vehicle from DPS that is at the hospital at this time. Again, we're not exactly sure what that means, but once we get some kind of confirmation, we'll be sure to let you know. At this time, we're continuing to follow along with Denver Police Twitter, as well as our crews there at the scene for the latest information. DPS also tweeting the fact that they do, as Corey mentioned, plan on doing a controlled release of the students. I want to go over that information one more time because I know a lot of parents are wondering about this. Denver Police say that, or Denver Public Schools, says that once Denver Police allows them to, parents can pick up the children at 17th and Esplanade. If your student drove to school, they will be escorted to their car in the school parking lot, and they will be allowed to leave. Students who ride the bus, we're told, will be held at the school until their bus arrives. As far as where students are right now, they're on campus. We are told they're being held within their third period classroom until further notice.
We did just get confirmation that the 2 adults that were shot are staff members there at East High School. This is a shot of, it looks like a gurney going inside of East High School right now from the ambulance that was stationed right outside of the front doors there. We've been showing you kind of various shots of the front of the school. This is from Sky 9. You can see a lot of crime scene tape that's still up. 2 ambulances stationed right outside the circle there, and a lot of first responder vehicles staged outside. Also from the ground shot there, you could see that they were starting to gather
Yes,
to hopefully give us some more information. Again, the public information officer was called on scene to pass along some information, and they're starting the stage for that right now. We don't have a time for when we might get some more information. Again, we have several crews that are there. We were checking in with Luis De Leon, Courtney Yoon, and again, we know that Brianna Fernandez is at the Denver Health right now, working to get some more information. We do know that Denver Mayor Michael Hancock is also there on scene. You can see they're staging there in the lower part. There's the mayor right there, probably getting briefed. They're from John White as well, who's giving him some information.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, once we get the update, I also see it looks like Chief Ron Thomas out there as well, maybe getting an update as well. Looks like maybe that's what he's doing at this time. I saw a lot of the media was gathered right there, so we do know that maybe they're getting ready to release some new information about this investigation. Of course, a large police presence there. I don't know if we have Sky 9 still, but you can tell from the shot above the school just how big this is. As you heard Corey mentioning, they were starting to put crime scene tape up there. We actually have gotten word from people who live in the area that they're blocking off streets all the way over by City Park, even at 17th and Fillmore, where they are shutting down as part of their investigation. We also know that people who live in the area are now receiving shelter in place calls from the police department as well. So while the investigation is centered on East High School, they are also blocking off surrounding areas.
East High School is pretty big.
Again, information continues to come in, and just being transparent. Once we're getting information, we're passing it off to you. There's not a lot of new information that's coming into us right now. Again, we do know that the suspect left the scene, and it sounds like residents in the area are getting.
Suspect is under the age of 18 and he left the scene, guys. They have not recovered a weapon yet. Okay, keep that in mind.
Calls to stay inside. We don't know any information about that suspect. We have recently learned that the 2 adults that were shot and transported to the hospital with likely non-life-threatening injuries were staff members there at East High School.
Yeah, again, this is obviously something that's really traumatizing specifically for this community, as it is across Colorado, as today we remember the 2 years since the shooting at King Soopers in Boulder, but especially traumatic for East High School as they went through something very similar just several weeks ago when one of their own students was shot and killed outside of the high school. That was Luis Garcia, a member of the soccer team, a friend to many there, absolutely beloved. Not only that, after that shooting, the students, they worked together. They did a walk out of East High School to the Capitol, demanding action be taken to restrict gun violence.
Yeah, and that march was very large. We saw that happening that morning. We were surprised by how many students gathered in that and walked to the Capitol, again, demanding change. We interviewed some of the students at East High School that were part of that march and rally. And what was sad to hear is that they were so knowledgeable about gun reform and gun rights and what they would like to see as students of the high school there. So again, this is really hard for East High School. I mean, this incident with Luis Garcia just happened a few weeks ago. Again, we were talking about how today marks the 2-year anniversary of the Boulder King Super shooting. So this is becoming all too common for.
Yeah, it's the sad part is that they're having to go, like, these are students that are asking for some reform with this gun stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is scary, yo. And the fact that we're not taking this shit serious and year after year, we've gotten so used to this that we're not even surprised every time. There's nothing breaking about this. I hate to say it this way because it's the truth. Like, a lot of us are so desensitized to things like this because they're happening often. I mean, I didn't even know that this was being covered. Shout out to the person that sent it to me in an email and said that there was an active shooting. I said, oh my God, like, let's look into this. And I'm seeing nobody's really talking about it.
so many in our community.
And once we can talk to one of our reporters again, they're at the scene, we'll be able to check in to see exactly what it's
Right,
like out
Aaron.
there. Again, we talked to our Luis De Leon and Courtney Yoon, and both of them described the scene as calm. Of course, you don't see any students outside right now. We're told they're being held in their third period classrooms. But our Courtney Yoon described it as eerily calm, given, again, that shooting that just happened several weeks before there. She said it was not a good feeling to be out there. Everybody else out there was kind of feeling the exact same thing. It looked like maybe we had also seen some parents arrive there on scene trying to pick up their students. Of course, police right now telling everybody to stay away from the area, to let them do their work. Understandably, we know as a parent that's not the easiest thing to follow.
Yeah, that can be hard. Again, they are doing a controlled release of students. Once Denver police allows that to happen, they have a plan of action in terms of getting the students to a meeting center. Of course, any students that drove, they're going to escort them there. We did see them take in a gurney a few minutes ago into the front doors from one of those ambulances there. We haven't seen that gurney come out. We're going to check back in with Luis De Leon right now. He is on scene. Luis?
Yeah, apologies, Jordan and Corey, for abruptly ending our last report there. We wanted to get over here because we began to see an assembly of members of the media to prepare for a press conference. We are now waiting for a update from local leaders here on this investigation. You can see the perimeter just behind us. This is what the scene looks like right now here outside of East High School as we await for a press conference right now. We were told that this would be happening sometime soon. We are still not sure when, but we wanted to be able to get over here and assemble in the event that did occur right away. The scene out here still relatively calm. Some of the students that I have been seeing sort of gathered in the lawn area around here, they have since left the area from what I understand. But I did happen to speak to a gentleman who said he is a volunteer here at Denver East High School. He mentors with students, specifically a junior in high school. He was waiting.
It's crazy. And that's the thing, is like loss of space. Some of it we don't even know that it's happening. Belinda's like, is this in Denver? People are asking this. It's a lot going on. Some of us did not even know what was going on too. I had no idea either. So it's, again, like it's kind of normalizing situations like these.
To hear back from that student, obviously he was very shaken up, tears in his eyes, did not feel comfortable going on camera talking with me, but again, just kind of expressing the almost both empathy and frustration for the situation right now after what East High School just went through several weeks ago, guys.
And Luis, we were taking a shot earlier. I don't believe it was from your camera. Maybe it was Courtney's, but it looked like the Denver Police Department Chief Ron Thomas was out there, and he was kind of briefing the mayor on what he knew at that point in time.
Yeah, we were not able to see that. I do believe that was from another crew that was a bit closer to the scene. But yes, like I said, we are still waiting on that update. So one could assume then that they are all briefing each other right now before they come to give out the information that they are able to.
And Luis, we've been talking about this during our coverage of what is happening there at East High School, but this has got to be something that's really traumatic, not just because, of course, this is a scary situation in and of itself, but given the fact of what East High School just went through several weeks ago.
I also spoke to another parent to that end who had said that they had two daughters graduate from East High School, and they told me that they were worried about a situation like this happening, and so just a lot of I suppose like more calm frustration on this day being expressed from parents. I've talked to other parents in the past few weeks, one of which that actually had their child ending up switching schools from East High School due to the violence. They never wanted to go on camera either and did not feel comfortable doing such a thing. But just a lot of movement and emotions coming out from a lot of parents around here right now.
Yeah, it's hard right now for them to even talk about it, wrap their minds around the fact that the incident with Luis Garcia happened just a few weeks ago, and then again this today. And Luis, it sounds like more and more parents are showing up there this morning.
Right, but we do know that reunification area will be at 17th, I believe, in Esplanade, and so hopefully the police and as well as us will be able to communicate that more to parents. I believe more parents have come and gone from the scene from what I've been able to observe, seemingly because they're getting that information of where to go.
And Luis, we just learned information that it looks like paramedics have brought somebody out of the school and put them in an ambulance. We're not going to be showing that just to our viewers. We're going to respect exactly what you're seeing, but we just wanted to let you know of that update. Luis, I'm curious, as you talk to people out there, the volunteer, the parents, anybody else, what are they wondering right now? What questions do they have regarding this?
First, it seems obviously just about the situation itself and what actually is going on inside of the school. As the same question from some of the students that seemingly were either already outside of the building when this started, but more so, there seems to be almost like a dumbfounded look on their face for how this could happen again. We've seen that look on parents before from past events that cause such distress, obviously. And so that seemingly is that question on their minds right now. We've talked to youth violence prevention organizations several times over the last few months related to incidents like the one that we're seeing today. And that's usually the question that's coming from them is why and how can this happen yet again?
Luis, we learned about this just before 10 o'clock this morning. You were one of the first, if not the first crew out the door. Describe to us what happened once you got on scene to the time that we first talked to you. Because when we first talked to you, you were talking about how it's kind of calmed down.
As soon as we pulled up, I could see two police cars start to barricade the two entryways. You know how just off of Colfax and Esplanade in front of Denver East, there's that roundabout area. They began to barricade that area there, and just several students talking to each other back and forth. That similar intensity that very sadly people are all too familiar with, of people trying to understand, are you okay? What happened inside? And then when I go up to those students and try to ask, they don't even know either. And so we're still working to confirm a lot of information. And like I said, should be expecting an update very soon here.
And we did just get another tweet within the last couple of minutes from Denver Public Schools confirming exactly what Denver Police released earlier, that 2 adult faculty members have been taken to area hospitals. Again, they're reminding parents they will be doing a controlled release once Denver Police allow.
It's the
They say they're
access,
working
though.
with OTD as well. This is new information to increase the number of buses on the 15 line to help students get home.
It's like, it's access, right? How, you know, how are these kids getting access to these weapons? Okay, now mind you, remember what the article said. Let me reread that. He was already on a safety plan. He was, says as the student suspected in the shooting, who is under 18, was under a school safety plan in which he was patted each day, the police chief said. During Wednesday's search, a handgun was retrieved and several shots were fired in the office area in front of the school, away from the students and staff. Let me copy and paste that onto the chat. So he was on a safety plan, and he, as part of being in the safety plan, he had to be padded. Okay? Help me understand how, if he had to be padded, he was able to bring in a gun. Then he has the gun and shoots everybody. This is what the article, the student suspected in the shooting, who is under 18, was under a school safety plan in which he was patted down each day. The police chief said during Wednesday's search, a handgun was retrieved and several shots were fired in the office area in front of the school, away from other students and staff, he said. He was a known threat. Yeah. Yeah. That's what was quoted. But he had it on him, and then he shot, I guess, several. It was a handgun. So they're patting him. I mean, he shouldn't even be in the school grounds at all, right? Like, that's my thought process. But what I'd like to know is why was there a safety concern for him, and why was the only measure to take help or assist was to just pat him down and allow him to come in? Clearly, like, isn't there a concern for access here to guns? Like, where's he getting? Why was he even in the safety plan first? Why? Hey, Lux. You're coming in. Shout out to Lux. Is anybody like wondering about that? You're on a safety plan and already you're back in school? And then you come back to school, what do? You have a gun while they're patting you down? That's where he shot the 2 adults. I'm confusional. Like, access.
Of course, that is what we know at this time. Once we learn more, we will bring that to you. Luis, a big question, and I don't know if you've been able to get this answered yet, that a lot of parents are wondering right now, and especially as we're giving information about ambulances or about paramedics heading into the school and out of the school, did the shooting happen inside or outside of the school? That's the number one question that a lot of people have at this time.
We still are waiting to confirm whether or not that the actual
Regular.
of the incident.
Hey,
itself.
Clover,
When you talk
regular
about
high
paramedics
school.
and everything, we actually haven't seen paramedics.
And this is
in and out of
East
this
High School
particular area. This has really been the area where police have been entering to get into the scene and everything. So we have personally not seen paramedics leaving this exact area off of Colfax and onto that street. So yeah, we are still waiting for that and waiting to hear more information.
Yeah, it looks like, and it's just because you were talking to us, of course, that there is an ambulance leaving right behind you right now. Again, we did see 2 ambulances that were parked right in front of the school. We saw a gurney go in maybe 10 minutes ago. We know that just a few minutes ago that gurney came out. We didn't want to show that to you. And now that ambulance is leaving. A few minutes ago, or a few seconds ago, the lights were on in that ambulance. They're working to get their way out of this crime scene right now. Again, the crime scene tape's up. All the law enforcement is there. They're moving the tape so that the ambulance can get out.
And something that Luis had actually mentioned was the people he had talked to, from the parents who described as having a calm frustration to the volunteer who was visibly shaken. This obviously is impacting people in a lot of different ways, but the one fact is it sure is affecting them. Of course, a lot of things happening. It's coming several weeks after a shooting there outside of East High School. This coming on 2 years to the day that a shooter killed 10 people at a King Soopers in Boulder. This is something that Coloradans have been, asking for change for a while when it comes to preventing gun violence. We saw the students there at East High School walk out from the high school to the Capitol demanding that same change, so you can understand why there is frustration among this community.
Yeah, and as Luis was talking about,
Right.
this is.
And to be clear, okay, so those that are just coming in, you guys, yeah, make sure you guys hit that like button, please, and thank you. Sweet Jules, I see, is coming in, barely my member. I saw Clover up there earlier. If you're coming in, this is what had happened. There was a school shooting. 2 staff members were injured. One of the things that I was able to pick up from the article was that and I pinned it here up in the screen, that the student suspected in the shooting, who is under 18, was under a school safety plan in which he was patted each day, the police chief said. Okay. During Wednesday's search, a handgun was retrieved and several shots were fired in the office area in front of the school, away from other students and staff, he said. So the shooter got away, by the way. They have not found the weapon. They have not found anything. They got away. Nothing has been found. No weapon, no nothing. And the shooter was on a safety plan, it sounds like. Let me hit play on this so we can keep watching.
Really hard, because the first question right now, once he talks to people who, obviously don't want to go on camera right now, and understandably, because this is still very new, they want to know what's happening out there, right? So that's frustrating, not having information about where on campus this happened and more information. And in addition, it's frustrating for parents, for staff, for students who unfortunately just saw this with Luis Garcia, a student there that was shot in the parking lot in his car just a few weeks ago. And that's why we saw this march and protest with the students just last week. And it was a big march all the way to the Capitol. We interviewed some of the students at East High School that morning, and they were very knowledgeable about gun laws, gun control, what they wanted to see happen as students.
In fact, it was almost sad how knowledgeable they were about this. That tells you just how much they've been paying attention. That tells you how much their lives have been impacted by shootings just like that. I know you and I, when we were questioning them, and when Courtney Yoon was also asking her questions as well, that was the one thing we talked about, was the fact that somebody that young should not be so aware. They should be able to live their lives, as a child. They should be able to enjoy that freedom that you only get in your youth with that. And instead, they're so focused on trying to change laws, trying to change security, what they can do to protect themselves in schools where you send your kids with the expectation that they're there to learn in a safe manner.
That's what was so difficult that morning when Courtney was talking to the students. She initially asked one student, what do you want to see? And they said kind of we want to see more gun control, more gun legislation. And when Courtney asked in what way, they had a list of actual things they wanted to see happen within their school, with the legislature. They knew exactly what they wanted and what they wanted to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, really sad though for teenagers in high school to be so knowledgeable about something that teenagers, prior, to the 90s, early 90s and beyond, would have never thought about a day in their lives.
So again, this is another live shot from the ground there, where you can see crime scene tape. There is an ambulance that's there. That ambulance has been there since we started talking earlier this morning. We have not seen any other gurneys go inside, but there is a huge police presence in the area, and you can see that when we take the Sky 9 shot. Again, investigators working to find out some more information, how this started, when this started, where it started in the school. Again, we do know that the suspect did leave the scene, and residents in the area were getting calls to stay inside, shelter inside, clearly, looking for someone in the area.
I want to get back to some information for parents that are understandably shaken up at this time. Students right now, we're told from Denver Public Schools, are being held within their third period classrooms until further notice. But once Denver police do give the go-ahead, say it's safe for them to do so, Denver Public Schools says that East High will start doing a controlled release. They say that parents will be able to pick up their children at 17th and Esplanade. Students who drove there will be escorted to their cars in the parking lots there at the school, and they will be allowed to leave. And if your student rides the bus and will continue to do so, they will be held until their bus arrives. They also say they're working with RTD to increase the number of buses on the 15 line to help those students get home. But again, if you are waiting to pick up your child, Denver Public Schools says once Denver police say it is okay to do so, you will be allowed to do just that. You can pick them up at 17th and Esplanade. And again, if your student drove to school today, they will be escorted to their cars in the parking lot. And then
this is a mess, yo. No, Ava, I don't remember Cleveland, 1988. Yeah, I don't remember that at all. Um, let me tell you what had happened for those that are coming in. So the suspect is a student, okay? The student was already on a safety plan, okay? And this is the comment that I have pinned up here. He is under the age of 18. So he's on a safety plan where he has to be patted every day before coming into school grounds. Today, he decided to come in with a handgun. The handgun was retrieved. It sounds like while they were retrieving it, 2 people were shot. Okay, 2 staff members that we know of. The student got away. And the weapon. So we don't know where this student is or the weapon. So this happened around 10 a.m. or so. Third period was usually around that. Yeah. So if you think about it, like in terms of period, it would have been third or fourth period if it happened. I mean, but this is in Denver, so this would be like mountain time. Okay, so keep that in mind. I think this was happening while I was live too, so just a heads up on that. Dope and gifted, I would not blame you, my love, if you did not go back to school over this shit. Like, this is just crazy because I'm telling you, I don't remember it being this bad. You know, I remember when Columbine happened, okay, because I was a kid around that time too, but I don't remember it being so bad. Um, or maybe it's always been bad. We just never really been aware of it. I don't know. I don't know. 10:30 Mountain Time. Okay, I have to look at Ava. I should have known about this one. I was just becoming an adult. Yeah, let me know about the Cleveland one from 1988. Right? I'm just I don't know. Never heard of that one. It's too much, you guys. It is too much. Our youth should not have to be marching to go get gun laws changed because they don't feel safe at school. Do you guys remember being in high school and having? I don't remember even having to worry about shit like that at all. I worried about what the hell was I worried about then? I was worried about the Beyonce CD, Destiny's Child. That's what I was worried about. I was not worried about this stuff at all. You know, I'm just, it's crazy. It's crazy.
And allowed to walk home. It looks like we have a group gathering here, just at the corner of across the street from the school. It's hard to make out exactly who is in that group. We know earlier we were seeing a lot of parents though that were showing up to check on the situation.
And you can understand why, even though police are saying, please don't come to the school right now. There's enough going on. But, you know, parents showing up to figure out, you know, where their kid is and if their kid's safe. Again, they are planning this controlled release of students right now. There's a lot of information from Denver police about where that's happening, if the kids drove to school or if not, they're taking them to 17th and Esplanade. Again, we've been talking about how this is 2 staff members that were shot this morning. They were transported with likely non-life-threatening injuries. Brianna Fernandez is at Denver Health right now. We're working to get some more information from her. We did see an ambulance just shortly ago load up someone from a gurney that we saw go in just a few minutes prior to that and take off from the scene with their lights on.
And you can only imagine what that crowd right there is thinking as they watch all of this unfold. Of course, our Luis De Leon said he was able to talk with a parent or two who both had a very calm frustration there, understandably. We were told right now we're standing by for a press conference with Denver police. Of course, once that begins, we're going to get that over to you to get you the latest information. But Corey, you can understand the parents right now, a lot of them showing up, that looks exactly like who we're seeing right there standing at that corner. Parents with very limited information at this time, very scared for their students.
Yeah, you know, as a parent, I can't imagine how hard this information is to hear about a shooting at a school that your child goes to. And even though they don't want parents there, you can see why parents are coming. A lot of parents are showing up by the minute here. Again, we did see that Denver Police Chief Ron Thomas was there. He was kind of briefing Denver Mayor Michael Hancock on the situation, again, preparing for this press conference that is just beginning. So let's listen in.
Possible today, but we want to make sure we give the public an update on the situation here at East High School. Obviously, a very difficult, challenging situation. Before we get started, my name is Michael Hancock, the mayor of the city and county of Denver. What we're going to do today is to ask Chief Ron Thomas to give a situational report on the incident here at East High School. And then we'll bring up the superintendent, Dr. Marrero, who will give a situational update on the school and what we're going to be doing going forward here at East, as well as other schools throughout the district. There will be an orderly timed release of students in just a few moments out of East High School. But we want to also give you an update that what we do know today is that a male student who was under certain agreement to be patted down each day here at East High School, shot and injured 2 staff members at East. What we know about them right now is that they're both, one's in surgery right now. The other one is stable and able to talk and to give statements in terms of what happened. We know that one other student unrelated to the shooting was transported because of an allergic reaction and a visceral reaction to the tension of the moment. Nothing trumps the safety of our young people in this building and the faculty and staff. And we feel for them right now. This should never, as a parent, I can tell you, never be a concern of a parent, whether or not their kids are safe in their building. And so Chief Thomas and Dr. Marrero and DPS Board of Education and I are committed to making sure we do everything we can to keep our young people and the faculty and staff of these buildings safe. Let me turn it over now to Chief Ron Thomas to give a situational report and give you more details on what happened today. And then we'll have our superintendent, Dr. Marrero, share as well. Chief?
I have questions about this safety plan. Okay. So again, hey, T. Marie, thank you, my love, for becoming a member. I guess this is the problem, right? The problem is that they had to, this kiddo, the suspected shooter, and I say kiddo, like, it's so crazy to me because you got these, to the way I see it, if you're under the age of 18, you're still a young kid. Okay. He was on a safety plan of some sorts. All right. And part of the safety plan was for him to be padded before he's being allowed into the school, right? That's it. So then while they were patting him, they find this handgun and he shoots two staff member there. So in my mind, I'm like, Jennifer, you asked a great question. Clover, exactly. How is it that you allow somebody under like clearly he would have had to have been very like, it's either something must have been going on for him to think that they weren't going to find the gun. So did he think he was going to, can you imagine if he didn't find the gun and they just let him walk in there after being patted and he shoots everybody and he's on a safety plan? Like, he shot two people. It's already bad enough that he did that. And then he got away. I guess I'm not understanding. So if he was on nobody should be on a safety plan, should be allowed on school grounds if you're concerned for your safety. Am I off? Like, I get it. Kids need to graduate. We don't want truancy. We don't want kids dropping off of school. But if automatically you're a safety concern into the school grounds, why the hell was this kid even allowed in there? I guess I'm just concerned because if it's a safety plan is just that, it's unsafe. We need to pat you down because it's unsafe, and therefore you will be patted down. So in my mind, I'm like, if already he's unsafe, then maybe the school grounds was not the school ground. He shouldn't have been there. He shouldn't have been allowed. Right, Peekaboo? I've heard of safety plans. I've never knew that there was a safety plan for kiddos that were unsafe, like walking to school with weapons, and then you pat them down to make sure that they're safe to go in there. If they're not safe for the environment, why are they even in the environment? I guess I don't understand, And not only that, you have the issue of access. Who gave him access? He got the gun from somewhere. I'm confused. Absolutely. And I mean, it sounds like one person is going to be okay, another person is critically injured based on that. So I've never heard of I'm just saying, I've heard of safety plans before, but never for somebody who brings weapons to school. So we're going to pat you down before you come into the property, into the area, to make sure that everybody's safe and that you're safe. No. Right, Darkness. It is nuts. Even the fact that the mayor, Michael Hancock, is even saying that, I'm just like, what? Does that even make sense? Does the fact that he's walking in there, having to be patted for a safety plan, does that even make sense? I just don't know. But let me keep playing.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. So what I can share at this point in time is that at approximately 9:50 this morning, a call was aired of a shooting here at East High School. Officers and medical professionals from Denver Health Medical arrived on scene very, very quickly and discovered two adult males that had suffered gunshot wounds. Those two individuals were transported emergent to Denver Health Medical. One is currently in serious but stable condition. The other is currently in surgery, listed in critical condition. What I can share as it relates to the incident that caused those two injuries is there was a student, as was alluded to, and as part of a safety plan, they were undergoing a search. During that search, obviously a weapon was retrieved, a handgun was retrieved, and several shots were fired, striking those two individuals. That individual then fled the school, but we do know who that individual is, and a search is underway to try to locate that particular individual. At this time, I'll turn it over to Dr. Moreira from Denver Public Schools, who will talk about the school's response.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you, Mayor. Deeply sorry that we're here. Really feel strongly that we shouldn't be here, but here we are. My prayers to the East community and, of course, our 2 staff members who are in the hospital at the moment. In terms of what we're doing at East, Mayor Hancock and Chief Thomas just explained in terms of what happened. I don't want to reiterate the happenings of earlier today. We will have an organized release. The communications should be going out to the parents right now, but also tomorrow and the next day, meaning the remainder of the week, East will not be in session. In terms of what we can expect at East from here until the end of the school year, in collaboration with Chief Thomas and support of our mayor, also communicated this to the Board of Education, that we will have 2 armed officers here at East until the end of the school year. We're looking forward to expanding that conversation to see how we can reestablish a relationship with presence at our schools, in particular our high schools. In terms of the Board of Education, I believe that they're going to make themselves available tomorrow in lieu of our board meeting. That would be an opportune time to have a conversation in terms of what safety looks like in our schools from here on out. En breve, en español, lo que pasó está el día de hoy, no sé si fue por la mañana, un estudiante que nosotros recibimos en enero de otro distrito llegó armado, 2 oficiales o personal de la escuela se confrontaron y él disparó a los 2. Los 2 adultos están en el hospital y ahora vamos a comenzar, los niños se van a ir piso a piso a la casa. Mañana no hay escuela aquí en East y el viernes tampoco. La semana van a tener libre. Vamos a tener 2 miembros de la policía aquí hasta el fin de la temporada, hasta junio. Y ojalá podamos hacer eso en la otra escuela. Yo creo que tengo el apoyo de la Junta de Educación, pero mañana a las 4:30, la Junta de Educación está disponible para contestar o explicar el plan sobre la policía. Muchas gracias.
Let me just say 2 things. One is an unrelated situation. Paramedics were in the building when the shooting occurred, and they were able to immediately begin to administer support and treatment to the individuals who were wounded. And that, I think, will play a huge role in their ultimate recovery from this. And again, we'll keep them in our prayers. But we want to thank our first responders, our EMTs, our firefighters, and certainly our police department who were on the scene within minutes of this incident occurring. And then finally, before we go to question and answer, to the parents, I want to share with you that I've had a chance to talk to a couple of them who are here. Obviously, they're frustrated and they're angry, as they should be. And again, those of us who are parents and have young people in this building, we certainly understand their frustration and their pain. The faculty and staff are concerned. We must continue to work on addressing safety in our school buildings and in our city in general, and we will. We have never stopped with that. The police department have been working to have a presence outside of this building for quite some time. I think it's clear now that we need to do even more interdiction with our police officers inside the buildings in these type of situations. So right now, those are circumstances we know with regards to the condition of the victims. We are looking for the suspect. We will find that suspect, and we will hold that suspect accountable for his actions this morning in placing everyone in danger and certainly wounding the 2 staff members who were doing their job and trying to keep everyone safe at the time. So we'll open up for question and answer. Please ask directly who you're talking to so we can get them to the mic. Yes, sir.
Minute of questions.
Yes, okay. We have brief time because we want to make sure we get this order released. Go ahead.
You said the suspect had it down the street.
Well, a lot of those details will be.
Can't share details of the video.
Sure. So a lot of those details will be available to us after a more in-depth investigation. But what I can share with you is this particular student actually had a safety plan that was in place where they were to be searched at the beginning of the school day every day. They had been searched previously to today and had never had a weapon on them before. However, today, during that search, which took place away from other students, away from other school staff, they did produce that weapon and fire shots.
Wow.
It occurred in the front of the school, in the office area, again, away from students and other school staff. So they were deans, they were school administrators. Yes. Again, it was the school administrators. Yes, under the age of 18, current student of East High School. I couldn't share that with you. I mean, I imagine that there are students that have various safety plans in place that result in certain interactions with school staff. Yeah, I think
particular for each individual?
Yeah, certainly it's particular to each individual.
That's a great question. So I'm still confused. He's patted down before entering school. So he arrived at third period. How does he get to school? Bus, drive, walk, or bike? That's a great question. And I'm confused too by it because if you think about it, right? Think about it this way. If he took the bus, that means he would have had the gun with him, right? He was transported to the property. But even the chief is saying now, like now, are the chiefs, are they aware of safety plans that these students have, especially if they know, like I'm assuming that to get on a safety plan, you would have had some level of violation of the school. Let's say threats. Okay. Or let's say you bring weapons, or you've been known, or you've been suspended for bringing weapons before, right? Something might have triggered that. So my mind is like, well, is the chief or is the police aware of these safety plans as it pertains to the students because they're bringing weapons, right? Like some way having to deal with this. Now, the medics were already there on a separate situation. The shooting just happened while they were there. You know, why would he bring a gun if he was already on a plan that required pat downs? That is the $1,000,000 question. That is the question that we'd like to know. Like that's pretty ballsy, don't you think? If the plan requires you to be patted down, I don't know.
So, yes.
I didn't have to share. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to share that again. That's, we're talking about juveniles. We're talking about students in school that have been allowed to participate in school activities.
Wait, last question. 10 minutes. Sorry, we cannot, bound by FERPA, we cannot disclose any particulars about any student individual plan, whether it's academic or behavioral. And sure, it's very nuanced and it's particular. They're individual, so it's based on past behavior, and that's as far as I can feel comfortable saying. So it's as a result of previous behavior. Sure, it's past educational and also behavioral experiences that each individual student may have exhibited in past.
Is this a system that takes place in more than just East High School? This state plan that you have? Can you tell me how many schools do this in the district?
This is common for all schools in all districts. It's part of what we have in terms of making sure that we can support the needs and behavioral needs of students. So it's very common across the nation.
My understanding is that the weapon has not been recovered, but again, we do know who the individual is. We do know where they live, but we are familiar with associates of this individual, and so we do believe we will be successful in finding that individual and that weapon very soon.
Is the area where this took place, is that video surveillance? Is that something that you guys have video of that area?
I'm not sure if there was video in this specific location.
Is that an area where there is video surveillance in that area, Dr. Morales?
There could be. I know the team is evaluating, and I also know that there has been confirmation that the student left the grounds. So that leads me to say that yes, there is. And I have to apologize. I don't want to conclude this press conference because I want to support the students who are about to be dismissed. So pardon.
Because he's a juvenile.
But is there a danger to the public? Is a juvenile land with a gun to an area that's still being threatened to the public?
Certainly, it's a concern that we have an individual who is not in our custody at this time who is armed with a weapon and has actually used that weapon. So we certainly do recognize that there is a concern. We will continue to evaluate that, and if we identify a specific location where this individual is likely to be, we will certainly provide information to that to that neighborhood that may be impacted by that. And certainly, as we learn more about his whereabouts and his motives, we'll certainly share that. No, so there was a regular protocol with this particular student that involved a search of his person, and previous searches of his person on previous days did not result in the location of a weapon. The first time, yes, today, upon his entrance into the school building. Well, again, so he was secluded. He was secluded with just these school administrators during this safety protocol, and so he did flee that location where the search was taking place and was able to get out of the school before anyone else was able to secure or subdue him. We don't have any sense of where he is. We do know, again, where he lives, and we are executing a search warrant at that location to see if we can identify evidence. We are identifying associates of this particular individual to identify where he may go from here. Again, he's a juvenile.
Were there paramedics already in the building here? Is that what you were saying? That there were already paramedics here? Maybe a career day or what?
No, they were here for an unrelated medical response, and I think it was related to the young lady who was already sick when they came. Yes. She was being treated in the building at the time. Paramedics were responding to her, and this came in my conversation. I went to the hospital once this happened to be there when the victims came in, and so I had a chance to speak to the paramedics. They were already in the building, and so they were able to immediately administer support and treatment to those who had been wounded, and begin the process of calling in additional support. So that hopefully will help in the recovery. Okay.
Not necessarily, no. So I think that we don't want to have negative interactions with students and officers. So no, I don't think that it would have been appropriate for officers to have done that type of activity.
What would you say to the East High School?
What can I say?
Yeah, what can you say again? This is another situation.
Yes, a very troubling situation. This school has gone through a tremendous time over the last year or so, and we, I think, have been responsive to that. We've had a significant presence in the school since the first incident that happened just over a month ago. We've had a significant presence outside of the school, both during the beginning of the school day and at the end of the school day. And as was shared before, we will have 2 officers assigned within the school for the entirety of the school day for the remainder of the school year. No.
Let's do this. I know that we wanted to make sure that we got as current information as possible to the parents, to the community. We are looking for this individual, but we know now he's an African-American juvenile. He wears an afro with a hoodie on that had an astronaut on it. If anyone has any information, we ask that you notify us as soon as possible so that we can apprehend this individual. We ask people to be careful not to approach him. Obviously, he is armed and dangerous and willing to use the weapon, as we learned this morning. But we're going to do everything we can to keep the community and the parents up to date as we know it. At the same time, we're going to continue our engagement with Denver Public School officials to continue to work to keep these buildings safe and the students and faculty and staff in these buildings safe. But we're going to get the chief back to his team and command post, and we'll do everything we can to keep you all up to date as well so you can help us get the information out. Thank you all.
Well, that is the news right now, you guys. If you live in the area, please be careful. No, it sounds like they have not captured him yet. Young, under the age of 18, juvenile who came to school with a gun. He was on a safety plan where he needed to be patted. While they were patting him, it was a handgun, and he shot 2 staff members. Those staff members, one of them is critically injured, and the other one looks like he is going to be okay, he or she. So just a heads up on that. I appreciate those that joined me today. Thank you so much for your engagement in the chat, and make sure you hit that like button. Now, I'm also going to ask you to please share this live with your social media platforms, because clearly not a lot of people are talking about it yet, and I'm a little surprised by it. But you guys have a great one, and I am out. I got to tend to a baby bunny over here. Right. Bye, guys.